do with their bans. And T1 haven't looked as strong if they're not dominating in the early game in the jungle. And so red side does hurt Oner's playmaking potential. Let's see what KT have in mind for this one, because I could see basically the same type of draft coming through here a second time.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised, as all stuff that we have seen before so far. Wonder if any focus will be on that Lee Sin. Maybe they get Cuz to play the Lee Sin here, because I'm not sure if you really want to ban it.
I think
you could ban it here.
I think that he'll pick Varus, or KT will pick Varus, not for Cuz, of course, but for aiming in the same spot again. Now, the Ashe is banned this time around. That was what was taken away by T1 last time. And as you know, you and I were talking about on the cast, when you talked about it, Ashe didn't provide a whole lot for the Zeri in terms of peel in the late game. Looks to be a Vi first pick here. First time T1 are going to give the opportunity for KT to lock this one in. It will, of course, be at the cost of playing into a Caitlyn lane potentially here. Could be the Varus lane coming for Guma. So it is at a heavy cost. See what T1 decide to pick with all the opportunities they have now on the bottom side.
Yeah, I mean, the guys on the space were talking about getting a better matchup for the jungle, and yes, perhaps it should. You're still giving Oner Lee Sin, right? And I mean, they also had the opportunity even to pick Lee Sin third and go for a really strong bottom lane if they wanted to do like Varus Caitlyn or something crazy, blind. Instead, they're just going to go Lee Sin Rakan. Say this worked in game. This worked in game 3.
I would have much rather seen, instead of a Zeri here, just a Thresh lock in. You know, you can go for something like Thresh Ahri here and feel really confident in your ability to set up for picks. And you have the Vi Ahri. Instead, we're going to go down the Zeri path. And this is not my first choice here. You're playing this into the Rakan Xayah. So there are some big threats, not only in the laning phase, obviously, but in team fights here too. The Lee Sin, a big problem you're going to have to deal with. Vi can be very nice defensively here into this Rakan lane. There were so many different options, I think, that were much stronger here in terms of setting up picks and beating T1 at their own game. So they're going to use this time. They were going to lock in the Xayah, but they want to use this time to think about bans. Unless there's something special they have prepared here. I don't think so.
It's a lot of like sly sideways glances and other things that weren't Xayah that were being said. So maybe they were even considering picking for mid and, you know, maybe just pick some other random AD carry and try to get through it. But I think, you know, want to get something for the bottom lane. The Xayah Rakan has a lot of power together.
And KT, I think, picked the Zeri here because when they see the Rakan, they're like, all right, well, this is going to be a Rakan Xayah lane, so we feel safe. Because you never want to pick Zeri when Caitlyn's up. And it felt like maybe T1 was considering, like, dude, we play Caitlyn Rakan, it's not really a thing, but maybe we get the pushing power. Maybe that was something that was being considered. But I think they're mostly talking about the second banning phase, where they will take away BDD's Veigar. We'll see the little Blanc taken away from Faker once again. This time the Talia is banned. We talked about it previously, how it was left open and they prioritized the Veigar. This time both are now removed from BDD as best champions towards the end of the season. Azir nerfed so heavily.
Yeah.
Not on
Where's that guy?
Anymore. Yeah.
He's just gone.
It's been a while since it hasn't been Azir relevant every game. Like,
when are we going to have Corki picked into Veigar? That's my question. Anyway, Lissandra going to also be taken off, so maybe leaning towards the Ahri and Lee Sin combo here.
That could be. It's very tricky here for KT. It feels like this is a trap. T1 are just trying to play like Gragas or something, and they're banning Lissandra to bait out an Ahri pick here. Because the other picks that are super strong here, the Cassante is still open.
Yeah, Cassante.
And, like, this is basically just saying, let's trade bans, because I want the Cassante. We have pick prio here on red side, and we're still going to have counter pick.
Could also just wait and try to get an Argon for Zeus. A little bit scary with Jax available, but if you pick it on R5 and maybe Keen doesn't feel comfortable blinding Jax, could be another look.
Yeah, and it is going to be that Gnar.
Or you just pick it.
Yeah. So this weakens the Renekton that is also available. But I don't think you want to be playing Renekton into this. You have to play around topside with this Vi. Okay, we're doing Twisted Fate again. This time, you know, again, the Gnar on the front line, that's not a pick that is going to live through, and they're actually just going to run back the Jax. The Cassante, I think, is so much safer here because of this angle, because the tankiness is so high. Your Xayah can survive. You have great turn with the Rakan, too, and the Gnar, if the Gnar survives long enough. But the Cassante is going to always make it through, as this is that Gragas I was talking about. They just want to be able to survive through. Ooh, going to match the Twisted Fate. The old response. Faker has played this so many times. It reminds you of the MSI 2022, where Faker and Xiaohu were constantly playing these roaming mids. The Galio in particular really stood out. And it's a pick that Faker is so famous for because his decision-making is so good on the champion.
And it does provide another frontliner here pretty much. Obviously, Galio doesn't really build tank, but at least another thick body in the front so that Xayah can do some decent damage. Maybe Gnar can chip away. They don't have a huge amount of damage in this composition, but they do have insane team fighting and lockdown and you know, like multi-man CC with Galio and Rakan alone, not to mention the Gnar.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty insane if they can get some of those fights going on their terms.
I do think KT need to have somewhat of a lead going into the mid to late game if they're going to have a chance. I said that, though, in Game 2. As KT fans, KT, you can do it. Let's go to 5 games. Silver Scrapes, let's go. But I think that they can do it with this comp. My biggest problem, the biggest hurdle for them is, you mentioned the additional front line with the Galio. It's also great at taunting up anybody who's trying to hard engage. But the Xayah, that's just so difficult to kill. The Zeri they were able to lock down last time. This time the Xayah could just ult back. Flash and Cleanse makes it so difficult to lock down this champion that's fantastic in choke points. And Guma will have a lot more freedom this time around.
I love the response fan signs. They say, KT was the right choice. Let's go to the 3-1. And maybe that's what we have on our hands here, Wolf. We do have a series. It's not a 3-0, but T1 looked pretty dominant in that last game. I'm very curious to see if KT can step up to the plate here in game number 4. Let's hop onto the rims.
The right Galio skin, too.
The one that is not a skin?
Yes.
I'm partial to the chicken one.
Not if it's Faker, though.
Not if it's Faker, obviously.
But yes, otherwise the BBQ chicken one that's not affiliated with BBQ in any way is my favorite.
Uh-huh. They are one of our sponsors, at least. Knock up here on the aiming, who is going to Ghost. So a little bit of fun level 1 shenanigans, as now even another Ghost is going to be used here by Guma. They just want to get out of here.
Yeah, and they will be able to.
Keria, never mind, goes over the wall again as Ignite going to be used. Flash away, Keria extremely low. But trading Ignite for Flash on Lulu, that's pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, it's just so scared of the Galio re-engage there. They don't actually push the issue any further. So a Flash is expended here by Lehens. And feel really good about this. I mean, it's Ghosts on both sides. Now, Keria taking some additional damage, of course, so there is a little bit of pressure here, and they should be able to force their way to a level 2 advantage. As Oner, this is a very early level 2 gank coming through. Lehens doesn't obviously have Polymorph. They realize, too, they see Keria and Guma coming, and they're like, you know what? This is actually going to hurt Oner's early game.
Okay, not going to stop the back, but it's really just playing with fire there as blue to bot gank. Not something you see every day, but with no Flash and Lulu. May have worked out. Did not.
Wow. Only 13 times this matchup. It feels like so much more.
In the LCK.
Yeah, of course.
Outside of the LCK, as you were mentioning. Definitely have seen this quite a lot.
Yeah, LPL in particular loves both of these champions.
And internationals.
Yeah, international events, we have seen it a lot. As it has been one of the ways that when we saw LCK and LPL dominance for so long, the macro for both the regions was so much further ahead, I think, than the rest of the world, that just allows you to make those plays without really showing too much draft-wise. Even when these champs weren't meta, they were picked by Korean and Chinese teams because just a way to get ahead early and snowball and win early group stage games. We saw it a lot. As crisis averted here, you know, Lehen's had no flash. Oner came down, but what he sacrificed, as you guys could see, in terms of the jungle farm here, is quite significant in terms of timings. It's going to hurt his ability to follow up and makes Cuz's opportunities a little bit stronger here, especially in the mid lane, potentially, with gold card set up. C's coming over here at level 4. Going to be able to get the scuttle.
Yeah, I think anyway, Oner, I mean, yeah, they both don't have flash.
No
Oner
smite.
is down a level. So just going to clear out the ward and probably just go to bottom scuttle.
Yeah. Thought for a moment that Oner did have his smite. I was worried, but he didn't.
Have prey on bot, so this should be pretty free. Just going to take this one down.
It's not going to be the end of the world for Oner, but it's definitely a different look than Game 1, obviously, where he made an impact very early on in the game and then started to snowball.
Yeah.
Not going to happen this time.
Or Game 3, where he got very far ahead.
Yeah. That is certainly the bigger of the gaps we saw.
The Cull versus Cull start in the bottom lane. That's we've entered a new era of bottom laning.
Yeah.
Everyone's buying a Cull nowadays.
Reminds you of the old Jinx Aphelios days.
Now it's just Zeri.
Zeri
She's a newer champion.
Zeri and lane opponent that isn't Lucian or Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Or Varus. As up here, Keen just playing this passively. Trying to see us under turret. VOD being annoying. Ooh, nice sidestep. Actually going to be a really good trade. We mentioned this earlier, the 3-0 for the Twisted Fate in the champion stats was all BD. Now he won Game 2. In this best of 5, he's 4-0 on the champion, and still the only player, of course, who's played it in LCK this season.
There was the one freebie game where he played against Akali, but he actually played that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know.
Immensely well.
I think, yeah, I was going to say, that's a little bit mean to say, to call that one a freebie game. That was a really tough one.
I mean, he played it really well, but that matchup was just like, oh, you just save my ultimate, and then Akali doesn't get to play the game. Especially if you're ahead, which he helped get there. Here is Cuz. Gonna get a little bit of damage onto Zeus. Could actually try to get... Ooh. There was a chance, like, if he flashes in there, maybe, but Zeus just flashes away, and then maybe you're stuck on their turret, so... A little bit scary there.
Still feels amazing, actually, to push this Gnar out. I mean, Keen wasn't super high health or anything like that, but now he's going to be able to crash this wave and he's going to get a teleport at least, and Keen should be able to come back with teleport advantage himself. So it does feel like a huge success here for Cuz on the top side of the map. So he has teleporting back in, as you guys can see. Faker doing the same, has his Lucidity boots. As we are headed for a fast Rod of Ages here for BDD. Keria wants to find an angle here so badly, but Flash is just now coming up for Lehen's.
Yeah.
So missed his window to punish here. You feel great as the Zeri lane.
Yeah. Just hanging out. Double call.
Yep.
Farming the waves as you do. Okay, well, then you just face check the brush, and now Lehen's going to have to flash off cooldown. So probably not the look you were looking for.
He's like, I got my flashback, let's face check. Totally safe.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it felt. As Oner, now getting in there onto Cuz, who is just not fighting this.
BDD has ult. He's not going to commit.
Yeah. Keria was roaming up from the bottom side. As we are taking a lot of looks up here to the top lane. Definitely does matter, especially the way the last time this matchup did go earlier in the series. We want to see how this time it will go.
Yeah, and the farm lead that Cuz had early has kind of faded away a little bit. Still significant, the advantage he has, but it's not crazy. As we say, this Oner is going to come steal this red buff away. Aiming going to help Cuz get these Krugs. But the gold lead that you see, or saw, until that moment, for KT was mostly just, as we have a pause, we can talk about this a lot. Twisted Fate passive. Now, we are having a Drake group up here in live, and the Twisted Fate is pathing top side, but could of course just go back towards the bottom side and contest. So,
hey, Wolf.
Yeah?
The last time these two teams went to 5 games in a best of 5. Just got the update from Gahan. 2017 summer, round 2 playoffs.
Okay.
It was a reverse sweep from SKT. They took the 3-2.
Yeah. And, of course, the following year was the last time these two teams played against each other in a best-of-5. Arguably T1's worst year in League of Legends in 2018, and KT was able to take that victory and go on to win, score a title. So
apparently Keria was not feeling well, but he's feeling much better now, so should be able to get back on the road here in just a moment.
Yeah.
It happens, you know, there's a lot of stress, so.
There have been, you know, it's very rare, but there have been some, like, minor health issue pauses that we've had over the years. We gotta make sure Keria does not end up, you know, straight up, like, he might actually be sick, and he says he's feeling better. That's the update we got, but he might actually have, like, you know, a stomach thing, and he's, like, trying to hold it in, you know what I mean? Like, that's... Everybody's played a game where you really need to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you meant by that.
And, you know, maybe he's also in that type of situation, so really frustrating to play through. Kuve famously taking a bathroom break in a SPO TV game back in the day.
Yeah, that meta was not very forgiving for those types of issues when every game was like 55 minutes. Fun times. Here comes the Destiny Gate as they are looking to collapse hardcore, but in they go a little bit too deep. Faker with the zoning ult. 3-man taunt as he's just trying to help his team kill Cuz, and that he will. Now the turn comes in. Cuz will go down.
Everybody's really low here against the Zeri, though.
Yeah, the Zeri coming in. Another double knock-up as Oner super low. Faker super low, and now we do have level 6 for Guma. He's trying to turn it around, but so many kills going the way the side of KT.
Because it's so hyped, man. Because he knows this fight is won by KT. They take 1,000 gold to lead now. Zeri picks up a kill. 2 kills for BDD. And suddenly this game is totally opened up. Yeah, you got the Drake as T1. And Keria had some really heroic engages there to actually save them. Plus the triple taunt you mentioned from Faker. If that doesn't happen, plus the knock-on.
Dodges the Gnar. Keen's looking for it. As Flash has to be used from Zeus. The spacing is there. One more Q could do it. He's not going to continue forward.
Oh, man. Also, Lahenza's coming up now.
The Lulu gank?
I mean, he might go for it here. There's no flash, of course. It's going to be really tough. It looks like they're just going to start up the Rift Herald instead.
That's why you need Hex Flash on Lulu.
Yeah.
For this play. That way you can get over the wall. And
Keen's going to get some honey fruit here, and actually it's going to be fine. They don't actually commit to the Herald just yet, as Guma's going to grab a plate here bottom side. But watch the heroics here, because Extendo Beam hits only Keria, and then the wall ride here from aiming is great. Faker ults here, but it's not high value. He has to get the triple taunt to prevent everybody from chasing, and Cuz, he's clapping and laughing after this play because his sacrifice here pulls T1 to the left side of this fight where there's no retreat. Keria's just, again, trying to buy time with his Glacial Augment here. Slow's coming through, but aiming picks up kills, BDD's picking up kills. The whole T1 comp falls apart. Double kill here for BDD, and then top side they get a flash. The play happens subsequently, so KT with a lot of map control right now. As mentioned, 1,000 gold to lead.
That's a great start for them. T1 did get the Hextech Drake, which should be mentioned, but the kills and the gold here to get so many of these early items, like the Rod to finish super early for BDD, is pretty massive. So we'll see if they can roll this lead into a bit more, as Oner is just like, yeah, now that we lost the fight, I'm just going to take the Rift Herald. But I don't think you can quite do that.
They have Narbar and Faker's ults coming back up, so that plus Keria's roam here, you know, it's not all bad, but they decide to back away, and this is the problem down here, is Lahenza and aiming are still here, so they're going to try to push this. You don't have your AD carry, and even with Faker's ultimate, very difficult fight to take, and they are going to give this up. Faker at least going to get a demolish here, take that plate gold. Well, this should be the Rift Herald going over, and you have to be so careful as Zeus.
Ult use and totally misses. Keria was very much on the edge and was trying to follow up something there. You know, Oner's got kicked, so maybe they could have made something happen. Not meant to be.
It's going to be the Herald, and this is what I was talking about. Zeus, man, you have no flash. He's got ult.
Uh-oh, Zeus is in so much trouble. Gold card comes in. The Q should be enough. Stops him mid-hop, and they give that kill to BDD. as now he is 3-0.
Yeah, and Keane's not going to be the only one who loses out here because, well, he lost the kill, but he's not going to lose out on everything because he's going to be able to pick up this plate gold here with the crash coming through. So lots of money to the Jacks anyways. Aiming's picked up a shield bow here at 11 minutes because of the gold he's already gotten his quote completed. And KT in a massive advantage here now. And these are the types of moments where you got to be communicating better, and this is weird to say about T1, right? Because they know that the Vi is on the Herald. You have no flash as Zeus here. You're up in the lane as the wave has been manipulated against you. And this is just unfortunately super greedy from Zeus here. Yeah, you don't want to give up the whole wave because the wave is pushing. Perhaps trying to get a bounce off there. But Keane's just letting the wave go through so they can come over here and get this kill. Vi has ult. Faker's nowhere nearby, and
yeah,
this really hurts. I mean, now you have a fed Twisted Fate, which is not the scariest thing, but the Jack's getting all that plate gold surely is.
Man, you know, Twisted Fate, he doesn't do too much damage, but getting some of those big items early, you know, an early Lit Speed could really help him with that extra gold he's got. He could also go for the RFC that he did in the last game to help just get more pick potential. Speaking of which, looking for this now as Faker is here with the counter ultimate. Oner going in, they're trying to burst down the Vi. Do they have enough damage? The Q from Faker goes on a BDD, not onto Cuz, as now he's in some trouble. It's 2v2. Looks like it should go the way of KT as Cuz will survive. They're looking to take down Oner, but he's going to get the execute. And maybe now he's going to turn it around. Somehow, some way, BDD flashes and gets away with a kill. How did he manage that?
Unbelievable. BDD makes it happen. The ult comes through from Guma, and he's not able to get this. Oner played that so well, but the Q misses. BDD is able to get away. 4 kills now on this Twisted Fate. He's 4-0-3, 100% kill contribution. And down here in the bottom lane, Aiming is picking up plates. And T1, just like that, man, 3,000 gold behind. And this is wild stuff we're seeing here. These early skirmishes is so heavily going into their favor. The Q missing from Faker. You mentioned it. We'll watch this fight one more time. BDD is up 3 levels here. He's got a Vi. And Faker's over here. Ult's in. And the ult does not really hit. The taunt comes through. He has the Everfrost. The Q not going to hit the Vi at all. The Oner's like, maybe I come back over here and help this. BDD, of course, takes up a lot of this damage. Has the stopwatch here. And Oner gets the execute, but it misses this follow-up Q.
I think he missed as well.
Yeah.
He did it like slightly early.
That's
not 100%
really
sure, but
really good play from Lehens. The flash wild growth to make sure he gets out of there. That was actually so well timed too.
Yeah. And then that force, it gives 2 extra plates to Aiming. Like, this game is off the rails. And it didn't have to be this way, but again, you know, sometimes T1 just, they're like, oh, we're behind, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to outplay them. We're just going to win. We're just going to make these fights ours. But like, no, like KT's good enough. They will smack you down if you go a little bit too far, and I feel like we're seeing a little bit of that once again here early on in Game 4.
Now it is Chemtech Soul, so this is pretty huge. Okay, hold on.
Here we go, going deep, and this is what this comp can do. There is no escape for Guma. He doesn't have ult, he doesn't have flash. Guess what? He used it desperately to try to kill BDD.
Keria here looks like he will survive.
Okay, a little bit of a flank, but Zeus is not a Meganar. He's desperately trying to kill a TF, and he will as Boomerang comes out. The damage from Aiming is pretty huge, though. We might have a second Zeri moment as he picks up 2 more kills.
Yeah, and now your TP is down on your Gnar as well, so Zeus doesn't even survive. He's the one who gets the shutdown. That's not who you want to give the gold to, but your AD carry died so early, it doesn't even matter. No one that you want to give the shutdown to is going to get it because Guma needs it so desperately. And now Faker, desperately trying to defend this turret, will not be successful. And Aiming is going to pick up that as well. So first turret over to the side of KT plus that amazing team fight. Sure, shutdown gold goes over, but it's to an R. And he's going for this Trinity Force build once again this time around, but he isn't going to have... He's not going to be an amazing frontline when you consider how ahead the Jax is, how much gold he's picked up. Speaking of which, he doesn't have teleport to get back to lane, and Keane might actually just force down the top turret, so it could just be 2 turrets they get from this play. And it's all set up from Cuz and BDD here. They lock down Gumayusi, and he's chain CC'd for so long. There's just nothing he can do. They know he doesn't have ult.
Yeah, and from ahead this comp, I mean, you can be anywhere, as Keane is in a little bit of trouble, does have the counter-strike. They're just cutting him out, is able to kick him farther away, but it might not matter as Keane should go down. One more auto, and Zeus does pick that up. So all of a sudden, you know, Zeus with the shutdown and an extra kill, he's beginning to line his pockets a little bit, but It's not nearly as much as this giant TF has at this point.
Yeah.
Not to mention the Zeri.
Remember last time when we had the Fed Zeri for Guma? You know, think back to Game 2. It was only the Zeri that was super fed and the rest of the map. Okay, hold on. Okay, not going to actually catch him there. But the rest of the map wasn't really online, and we were like, okay, it's a Fed Zeri versus a Fed Jax and a Twisted Fate that's doing pretty well. Now you're dealing with a Fed Zeri and a Fed Twisted Fate and a Jax that, yeah, died here, but has gotten an entire turret worth of plates, so has a lot of money too. And the front line is going to get better here for Zeus, and Keen dies getting said turret. So this is the second turret that goes over. And he almost gets out. Nice sidestep on the Q, but ultimately will be kicked, and that is long enough of a stun here for the additional damage to go through. Zeus also getting the kill here. Hyper Proc comes over. He has the extra damage, so he picks up 700 plus this kill. So he's going to be relevant in this game, but it's still not where you need it to be. The money needs to be on this Xayah, or arguably on Faker, because he's going to be a bigger frontline this game.
Yeah, and I remember, you know, in the draft, talking about the immense amount of, like, big circle, team fight, engage, kind of wombo combo-ness that T1's draft has, but from behind, without vision, you know, against the pick comp of KT that can kind of just pull you around the map and doesn't really have to fight team fights, I think KT can, if they play this well, this game should be theirs. Not, you know, not to mention, again, the Zeri. You know, they have this Jax that's doing well. They have the TF that's insanely fed, which means that they should never have to team fight. So, I don't know. I think they're just in a great spot in this game.
Yeah, certainly. Keria looking for an aggressive play here with Oner. They could get caught. Twisted Fatal.
Here we go once again. Might have a little bit of a team fight. Faker's all the way up in the top lane. So he could TP. Okay, he is going to TP into this one. We are opting into a 5v5 as KT.
Yeah, Keen here looking for the follow-up.
Might not matter, but will it as the Vi's get low? They take out the Vi! KT went a little bit too fast. And Furious, they do get the one kill to T1, but KT still with the lead, and the incredibly scary carries will push T1 away for now.
No objective to take or anything like that for another minute here, so Vi will come back up. Zeus trying to frontline set up a Narbar, so the engage is real, and if the follow-up there is not as crisp from T1, if the counter-strike is timed a little bit better from Keen when they decide to go in there, things look very different. Also, Keria had stopwatch, so you can hard force that. And I think that's what they're looking for here is, yeah, Twisted Fate ultimate comes out, but the kiting is good. Oner's kick is also fantastic, so they buy a lot of space, buy a lot of time for Faker's TP. And now it's hard to force the engage here as KT, because you're walking into a Galio taunt, you're walking into a Keria engage, which is going to happen here on the right side. Keria comes over, and he's not under any threat here of Keen's counter-strike because he has a stopwatch. Keen actually gets out of there. And that's a pick going over onto the Vi. No follow-up. And yeah, all the health bars are low, but KT can't force their way through that inner turret, or mid-turret.
Yeah. I think you need a little bit more finesse with this KT comp. You can't just sprint at them, you know? You got to be careful. They still have insane amounts of CC. Like, yeah, you are a Vi and you are ahead, your team's ahead. As I say that, they are just going to ham-fist it underneath this turret. Let's see how deep they can go as Cuz is living, and he will open up 2 kills more for the Zeri.
100% worth, you know? I mean,
yeah, this time it works.
You've eliminated the 80 carry of your opponent, so you're going to continue to deny farm. And there should be a second Drake going over to KT as well, not the most impactful one. As, yeah, Oner thinks better of actually taking that Q. And Keen's going to come clear some vision here, and they're going to commit to the Drake. They have enough damage to do this. And with all these turrets down, they can just group S3 here without any cost. Like, yeah, you don't have a jungler, but it doesn't matter because you have the damage to do this, and there's no cross map where your solo laners need to be. There's actually nothing really to get on the map besides this Drake right now. So now 4,500 the lead here for KT. And it's been such a long time since we've seen KT actually go toe-to-toe with T1 like this in best of 5s. They are making it happen. Cuz gets the flank. He's the one who dies last time. They get the ult out of Guma early. He sacrifices himself for aiming to get the double here. And there's nothing Oner and Zeus could do. No Narbar here. Oner just desperately trying to hold down the turret. Will defend it, of course, but at the cost of the Drake and their 80 carry. Those the items here were in a very similar situation to the last time we saw the Zeri for T1. Might actually be 2 items up here if this continues for aiming. He has 6 kills.
He's about to get, you know, his glory spike at 20 minutes into the game. That is a, we've had multiple Zeri moments in this one. So we'll see how KT can go with this lead. Cuz waiting in the wings.
And you know, what's interesting too about the Twisted Fate, we talk about Twisted Fate doesn't offer you a lot of damage, but in these early skirmishes with the lead he had, the fast rod, and also now this Lichbane, he does quite a bit of damage, right? And This is the kind of snowbally twisted fate that BDD is famous for, where he gets so massively ahead, and it doesn't feel like a waste for the gold to be on him because he's making a huge impact. As you can see, 1,600 ahead, 2,500 ahead is aiming. Quick Blades just hit as we bring this up. And this is going to be T1 now struggling to come back in this game. Looking for a pick onto Keen, but even this is greedy. A topside play onto Faker meanwhile.
Yeah, they're making a play up here. Or at least trying to put on more pressure. They, with the ultimate, are able to see that 3 people were hovering bot, so able to just push on in and make something of this.
Keen does not have flash advantage, so he's kind of just sitting here under this turret. Not going to commit anything further.
Yeah, I kind of like the angle here for Keria. I think that in order for T1 to have a chance to come back in this one, they really need some kind of heroic engage that KT just don't see coming. And like maybe you catch aiming off guard, you burst him down. He does not have cleanse in this game. So if you're charmed, you're knocked up. Obviously, cleanse wouldn't help there, but if you can chain some stuff into aiming or into BDD even, I think there is a way for them to come back. So Keria is going to be looking for those long angles.
Zeus going a bit... Okay, hold on.
Well, I say that, and now he's in a little bit of trouble as he is going to flash away. And aiming is just frontlining, just going to get kicked away. Faker just desperately trying to join.
So they get a ghost, but otherwise a massive advantage here. Keria has to flash, Faker has to ult here. He does have teleport, of course, but this is huge on the side of KT Rolster getting that pick. And I was just going to mention, it looked like bottom tower was going to go down, but it does not, in fact. As Keen stepped up too far to Zeus. Zeus did a ton of damage to him, but he's not actually successfully able to take that turret out. So T1 not even getting that on the bottom side of the map. They're very close to it. Very close isn't good enough. Aiming needs to be very careful not to get caught here. Holding on to this flash is really important. And we are still a ways away from this next Drake. The Baron is up. T1 are going to force down this mid turret. And they're faster to group for the Baron right now. Zeus does have teleport. I don't think they can start it, but they could definitely start to scare KT. Maybe force a Twisted Fate ultimate out, try to put KT into a compromising position here. I think that's the way you have to play this as T1. Like you said, setting traps like what Keria was looking for cost him his flash, but it's a proactive play that gives you an opportunity if KT make a mistake, if they feel the pressure here. Remember, T1 are on match point. KT have a massive lead this game, but it's by no means over.
I mean, especially if the game goes pretty late, like you would probably have to favor the Zeri, but at the end of the day, you know, we did talk about the wombo combo abilities, so we'll see how the fights really go. I think it's still going to be difficult for T1 to find good angles from behind, you know, with lack of vision and all that stuff, but let's see. K2 were pretty apprehensive in Game 2 when they won that one, you remember. They, like, kind of got a lead, and they're like, okay, we have a lead. Now let's chill, let's wait. And they gave a lot of time to the Kassadin and the Zeri in that game. As, well, might have another skirmish here on the bottom side of the map as Faker's going in, 2-man taunt, but the damage not quite there. Zeus in a lot of trouble. The gold card hits as everybody is just being run down. Zeus gonna go down as well. Another double kill for aiming. Is that his 4th in this game? Because now he's looking for a Guma here. He has to go into his stopwatch, but I think he'll be totally fine with that as Faker is going to be food for the Zeri once again. Cool taunt bro, they say, as now aiming is 9-0.
9 kills on the Zeri. It's insane how much he's been able to do. His positioning is so good. That's a Baron play here on the side of KT now as Oner is alive here and he is on the flank trying to get some additional information.
They know. He's looking for him.
Yeah, and there's the trinket. They push him out, and this should be Elysian that is getting out of here, or one way or another.
He's so fast as, yeah, Oner's dead.
Yeah, he's just dead.
And he's going to get over the wall here.
Oh.
Okay. What? Just,
all right, just focus.
Kill the Baron.
KT focus. Okay, panic.
No, they have lost focus, Wolf.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to. As they end up losing out the kill onto Oner, he doesn't even have to flash, and nobody's on the same page here in terms of the turn as Rakan is coming over. Watch the positioning, by the way, of aiming in this fight. Is you walk into this one as Zeus, and they think, okay, maybe we win this fight because Counter-Strike's on cooldown. Taunt comes through, aiming dodges that, is able to get through the Everfrost, ults multiple people here so he can get this damage over the wall. And he's Zeri, so he's just going to continue to get kills. Faker's pushed away. And the aiming wall rides the chase here, and the stopwatch timing is perfect on Faker's ult. And yeah, he gets a knock up onto Keen. Faker also breaks his own And yeah, the taunt happens here, but there's no follow-up damage as Guma's been out of this fight for a long time. The follow-up there on the Baron is a little bit regrettable, and I think KT fans are stressed, and as now T1 are going to start this up because KT are very far away.
They're just making it interesting for the fans, I think, as Guma has to go to the Featherstorm here. We do get the engage onto aiming, but Keria is all alone. And unfortunately, Rakan does not have much damage. That is a ton of damage into the Zeri, though, as that got more close than it should have been. But they still will win the fight very handily. Should be able to take down the Baron.
I've never seen a Zeri have a moment like that. Barely surviving. Immortal Shield Bow pretty good. She barely gets out there. If she dies, maybe a different story. Maybe T1 can actually contest, but it's 3 kills going over now. That is Baron. And now, very likely the game going into KT Rolster's favor to bring us to Silver Scrapes because there's just too much of an advantage. You have 10 kills on the Zeri now. And going back to this, it's Guma who's polymorphed here. BDD for the follow-up. Gold card is denied by the ultimate initially here. And then Oner's Q is pretty perfect, but notice that even 1v2 was enough here with the Zeri. Aiming, having that shield bow buys him just enough health to survive.
Yeah.
Very close call.
Chemtech Drake extra shield power.
Oh my god. Ox is watching. Oh my goodness. Ox, secret KT fan.
He's got Bloodthirster now as well. Think about the value.
The value is quite high, in fact. Now his stopwatch is broken. He's got so much money that he could turn that into a CA.
Next.
Or Zonia's. I mean, he really has. He's got the options.
I'm down.
Now, I mean, with this Baron up, first time KT is actually able to really secure one this series and push leads. We're going to be able to take a lot of control off of this map and then get some deep vision. You already have a Twisted Fate to super ahead. Now he's got Rapid Fire Cannon. And all these turrets just falling by the wayside.
Yeah.
Guma can't even farm freely, safely here. He's just waiting for these waves to hit the inhibitor turrets. That's where he's going to be farming. There's so many minions are being lost in the top side of the map. And that's where BDD is going to put his focus. They've pushed now mid.
I do feel like KT could have, used the side lanes a little bit more. The game got so scrappy in the mid to late game here that it was like, well, I guess we don't really need to. But if the game was really slowed down, I feel like you could just, throw a TF into one lane, a Jax in the other, keep your Zeri safe in the 3 and mid.
And Oner has had so many impressive plays already this game. Zeus too. I mean, they almost collapsed on and killed aiming right in that last fight. I don't want to say it's over until it's over, right? I mean, they have 2 stopwatches for those players. Faker has his Zonias, right? And he can make a big play happen. All you need is the big wombo. Like, they have their own wombos, right? It's not over till it's over, and I think because of this, KT playing so passively here is respectable, considering that one wrong move and then T1 get back map control and the game with it.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down 1-2 in a best-of-5 in playoffs, that's the way you have to approach this sometimes.
Still a pretty massive lead for KT, of course, but I think the point still stands. Better to just wait it out, slowly push him with the Baron. I feel like they could have gotten a little bit more value with the Baron buff, but, 4,300 gold is probably good enough.
My problem is the gold is less significant than getting an inhibitor, because the inhibitor is permanent map control, right? And, well, not permanent, but semi-permanent. It's like 5 minutes that you're going to get. And if they just get gold, I mean, you already had the gold lead. You already have a fed Zeri. Getting 4,000 gold extra, 4,500 gold extra is not as great. Now, they will be able to turn this into a recall here, buy some additional items, and then head over to look for the soul fight. Zonia's picked up.
For BDD?
Yes. And we don't know how much money aiming is sitting on right now.
Yeah,
you have to
he was backing, but then he stopped. So I think he's trying to get a little bit more for the GA, probably.
Yeah, I think it's going to be GA. Speaking of, Cuz just picked his up. So, I mean, look at the gold held here, the item value, rather. The gold that's held in these items. 2,000 ahead here for aiming, 3,000 ahead for BDD. And he's almost level 18. Damage negligible, but it's the setup for the massive damage they have in the back line. The Jax, the Zeri.
They are really trying to force this turret down, and yeah, they're going to get it, but Faker might just die as he is going to ult away.
Look at aiming on the long con flank. He's coming all the way around.
Not much of a wombo combo here, but the 5 are together as aiming still not here, and it might not matter as finally they will take out Keen.
It matters a lot, though. He's not here. He did nothing.
They're going to
have the combo.
Let's see if they can actually get aiming. As the Q is in there, but everybody on the side of T1 is just kind of being zoned, corralled into a corner.
Keen has teleport here, but now KT have to get out of here.
So much for being safe, right? Like,
yeah.
What is happening in this game?
Okay, this is a really tough fight for KT in this choke. Faker's here, has flash.
He does have the, you know, if this were old Galio, maybe he would have had the 5-man taunt.
Oh, yeah.
Not the way it's meant to be, and I think KT are just going to say, well, that was a little scary. Let's take the Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, Aiming wanted to wrap all the way around, but he took such a long flank angle to get the wraparound there that when the engage came through from BDD and Keen, he was not there at all. And even though it was a great engage with the Jax, it's like, wait, where's the damage? Where's the damage? Looked very scary there for a second. But ultimately, it is still going to be the solo going over here to KT Rolster.
You mean the Elder Spawner?
Yes. And that
for the, you know, the 38-minute Elder Steal.
Functionally, that is what it is going to be this game, as there are some advantages. Obviously, we talked about it, and how it's going to be. It's great for Azeri, too, with this build, because she's below half health. That extra damage is pretty massive, but look at where Azeri is on the minimap. Like, that's actually really where observers should be honest. Like, Aiming is a million miles away, still really far away.
I'm flanking.
Yeah, and then Keen comes over and gets taunted and charmed and knocked up, and he's dead. And now your front line is gone. Your Vi is super low. And luckily for KT, they have the movement speed in this comp to actually get out, but very messy.
Yeah, that's very true. And T1 were like really a thick unit of 5 of a big ball of wombo combos, so really got to be careful. Not a lot of ults used as well, other than Faker's, I believe. Not sure if Keria used his. Probably did. But either way.
Aiming, yeah, he has the GA that we were talking about now for this one. So, I mean, you still have that stopwatch as Oner, and he's got to be super close to getting his own GA, actually. It looks like he needs a little bit more money for that, but like this is the fight. Yeah. This is the fight that T1 need to win. They need to stop this Baron, because this Baron ends the game. But look at the setup here for KT. It's so difficult to play into this.
Oh, they're just going to try to 100-0 Keria. Once again, it's not really going to work. Destiny Gate comes out.
Yeah, not the most impactful one, and Keria will be able to back. Lost his flash. They're just going to rush over now with that Destiny Gate to the Baron and rush it down.
Yeah.
They have the damage, but do they have the lockout down onto Oner? He's not even coming over here.
Yeah, he's not even going to try. Down will go the Baron.
It's almost like the, you know, T1 here, with no vision, they try to force something. They're kind of resigned to their fate here in some ways. They're not just going to roll over and die, but Keria losing flash and all that map control and the speed at which KT can go over and do this Baron, they decide maybe their miracle is going to happen elsewhere. As we've seen already on the first Baron, KT didn't get that much lethal damage to the base. We'll see if they can unlock some inhibitors at least this time around. It's going to deny a bounty, bottom side.
Aiming's build has 5,000 more gold value over Guma's right now. Guma just barely trying to put together an LDR. Keep in mind that the Xayah, it's not quite Zeri, but can still be insane. You know, if Cuz goes a little bit too ham, if Keen goes a little bit too ham, you get a bunch of feathers stacked up. You really got to be careful, and that's, you know, again, just another reason why KT have to take this so slowly, even with the gigantic lead that they have.
Yeah, I mean, if Aiming dies for any reason, like, the GA isn't really passive on it. You know, the res isn't actually going to amount to too much. If you're losing the fight, you'll just die a second time.
Oh, in they go. Just trying to slowly chip away at these turrets.
Yeah, the damage is real here. The Runan's just chipping away at multiple people at once, as you can see. Yep. Extendo beam. From a head like this, Runan's is so oppressive for Siege, and
realistically, as long as KT don't make any mistakes, they should be able to take down all the inhibitors and the game.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe we're going to 5. It looks like Valdez.
Looks like it. Pony knew the whole time.
He knew, man. He's always right with these preds. It's scary.
The only 3-2 predictors is in a lot of trouble here. He's going to have to back away. Oner is dead. It's desperation moment for T1 as they cannot stop the onslaught of KT at the end of this game. Game number 4 should almost definitely go the way of KT. Looks like they will take down the turrets. Although T1 are desperate to try to stop it once again. They get in. Finally, a charm is hitting, but it does not matter. Down will go the turrets, and we will have Silver Scrapes in the Telecom War.
Telecom War round